Estill Springs. We got Walter McCord. Thank you for coming and being with us, sir. And you've got 45 seconds to tell us who you are.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. First, I want to thank the Herald Chronicle and WCDT 106.9 FM for hosting this. My name is Walter McCord, and I'm running for Alderman of Estill Springs. This is my first campaign for political office. And currently, I work as an instructor at Tennessee College of Applied Technologies in Shelbyville, where I teach computer information technology. Prior to being an instructor at TCAT, I worked for Metro Information Services in Nashville for a few years. Then I've also worked as an instructor for various colleges in the last 15 years. I've been married for 32 years to Lisa Lachlan McCord, and also currently as a part-time job trying to get the public service going, I work as a election officer at the Oak Grove House during election campaigns. All right, questions for me, gentlemen?
Okay, to start it off, what do you feel should be Estill Springs' #1 priority?
Well, that's a good question, and I come from a consulting background, and what I've learned in being from that background is the first thing I need to do is find out what the problems are. And that was my first goal. It would be to get in, get the position, and then see what's going on before I give any input on what the problem is or the directions they need to go.
And how do you think we would go about addressing that if you're elected?
Well, first thing would first go to the meetings, get to meet the other aldermen that are there, and then also go back and read some of the minutes and any information they have on what they've done in the past. And also, very important, is talk to the people that are the voters and the people that are going to make a decision on whether or not what needs to be done there. And I'm big on, and being a technology guy, I have a website, I have my cell phone, and I'm very easy to get to. And so any questions they have, and luckily I've met some of the voters there, and they give me some ideas of what they like to see, and I want to make sure that that's brought at least to the board to be discussed and possibly move on based on what the budgets are and things like that.
Okay, and what is your motivation for running for office?
Well,
why are you doing it?
Well, that's always a good question. It's kind of interesting because I've always wanted to be use my business background and try to take that knowledge and get into the public service. That's one of the reasons I became an election official, because I wanted to get to know people. I do the one at Oak Grove, and working as an election official there is interesting because it's almost like a homecoming. I get to meet everybody that we've known for 30 years out there. And that's what I'm trying to do, is to get to know the community. And just running for office, one of the biggest blessings, if you can believe running for office is a blessing, has been I've met probably 100 people that live in my area, shook their hands, got to know them, and there's some great people out there. And that's one of the things I really enjoy the most.
All right, I'm not going to ask you the dreaming question, okay? Even though it's a good question at this point, because, I have family ties in that area. My grandparents grew up there, and I spent a lot of times as a youth in Estill. And I remember Estill as a very thriving community. A lot of businesses that were located in Estill, but Estill has kind of become a bedroom community. Is that where Estill needs to go, or does Estill need a balance between those, or are we happy where we are as far as being a bedroom community?
Well, again, like I say, I need to get in the position before I can give you answers to things about budgets and those items, but I'm unique in that I do work for TCAT, and what we do in one of my background jobs as a consultant was I used to hire people. I was a recruiter, technical recruiter, and I also has experience bringing businesses into communities. So in order to have business come to a community, you have to have a workforce. And we do have issues. I've already spoken to people that live in Estill Springs, or not live, I'm sorry, businesses from Estill, and they said the biggest problem is getting good employees. And that's one of the things I'm hoping I can bring in. And I will rely on my knowledge of the high school students that are going into my classes, that are going to all of our classes, industrial maintenance, TCAT, CIT, welding. They need jobs. And if I can make my connection with those businesses in Estill to help these guys get jobs, that's a win-win for everybody. Win-win for TCAT, win-win for the student, and also win-win for Estill Springs.
Okay, on the flip side of that, aside from work, recreation, there was a movement a few years ago to have a beach down there in the park, and an effort to make a nice area, kind of like Dry Creek Beach. It offered additional amenities and recreational amenities where families could go and they could have picnics, and then they would have a beach area. Do you feel that should be pursued, or is it even feasible?
Well, this is the interesting thing is I went to the last meeting they had, and one of the things they mentioned there was the large baseball, softball games and the walking horse area there. And it seems like first they need some infrastructure repair, and I do think that you have some money for that. And such as there's potholes, there's rocks, there's a really, really bad area there. That needs to be addressed first. So, you want to be able to drive back there. Then as far as putting in a beach and something like that, if there is a need, there should be a simple old-fashioned snail mail, if you have to, ask a survey to see if people are interested in something like that live in that area. Now, I do have to discuss things like that with the mayor and the other people to see what they would think also, because someone may want it, but I have not heard anything about that myself.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for coming out and being with us.
Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, and that's Walter McCord. We're going to take a break.